What if everything we've been told about eyesight is wrong? Imagine if seeing clearly wasn't just about luck or your age, but it's actually a skill you could develop. Hi, I'm Jenny Waters, and welcome to my channel. I'd like to help you develop those small habits that help you age healthier. And today we're talking about what habits we can put in place to actually improve our eyesight. I always talk about you shouldn't accept that your health is going to decline as you age because that's just part of life. And what if vision is also included in that? So I have a special guest today with me, Irena Castle, and she is an eyesight coach. You heard that right, an eyesight coach. And she's the founder of Overbound, but she's also developed tools that help improve vision that are used worldwide. So let me welcome her. Hello, Irena.
Hi,
So
Jenny.
glad to have you here.
I am glad to be here. Hello, listeners.
So, if you have questions as we're going along, be sure to put them in the comments and we'll answer them at the end. And if you're watching it on the replay, she'll come back and answer your questions. Now, Irena is a friend of mine and she blew my mind when she told me that she actually helps people improve their vision so that they don't have to rely on these glasses that are become so common with everyone. So I thought it'd be great to get her to tell me more and thought you would like to listen and learn as well. So tell me more about what you do, Irena.
Very good, very good. Well, Jenny, I agreed to come on board over here and talk to you and your listeners, right? Because we were talking about glasses and vision the other day, and when I told you that 75% of Western population suffers from all sorts of different vision conditions, you were like, wow, I didn't realize it was such a huge number. Now we're talking pandemic, right? 75% of people throughout their lifetime suffer from one or multiple vision conditions. Some of them have been wearing glasses or other vision aids since they were very small children, right? And anytime they go to see an eye doctor, they learn that their vision got worse and they need to wear stronger and stronger diopters, right? Diopters are the measure of correction of the vision. And when they ask, well, what am I supposed to do about it? They are usually told that, well, nothing. Just keep doing what you're doing, and we will give you new glasses if you need them to see better.
Oh, I know I've been given that advice as I have bifocals, and then when I'm wearing my contacts, I have readers, and my girls have grown up with having had to have corrective vision as well. So this is just mind blowing that you can do something other than that.
Yeah, and how fun is that, Jenny, to mind all of those different glasses, right? And making sure that you have your readers with you, even though you're already wearing contacts.
Well,
Yeah.
and how old do I look with these? I don't like that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And how much money does it cost? That's
Yes.
another issue, right? To
Right.
be changing glasses, and then you want to make sure that at least you go with style. And so you get
Yeah.
different frames and more expensive frames
Right.
and
Yeah.
branded frames and all that stuff. And it all goes together. So
Yes.
anyway, so yeah, I hear you, and this is what my friends are saying, some of my family. If you are really lucky, you have not experienced any vision loss, any vision difficulties until your 40s, 45, 50s, when some vision loss happens in the form of not seeing objects up close, right? That is the readers that Jenny just mentioned.
Yeah.
You kind of lose the ability to see things up close, usually because the flexibility of your lens, which provides refractive power to the eyes, is little less than it used to be when you were younger, right? And so first thing you do, you reach for the readers, usually reluctantly. Those people who
Yes.
have always seen well, they don't like wearing the glasses, and you put
Right.
them on and you start looking older. But what you also don't realize is that you are actually promoting more of what is already happening to the eyes.
Oh,
right?
it's like
And
using a
so,
crutch. You never get better. You just keep
yes,
using needing
yes,
that crutch.
exactly. It's kind of like the crutch, right? And so those are the two most common groups. And then there's another group that you may fall into, and that is being a person who is told at an eye doctor. And by the way, it is very good to go to see an eye doctor because they can uncover serious illnesses in the eyes, right?
Mhm.
They may or may not be able to do something about it, but they can at least uncover it. And information is always wonderful to have, right? But what do they say? If you go there and they tell you, well, your eye pressure is a little high today, that could lead to open angle glaucoma. Well, I'm sorry, but that just made my stomach crunch and I
Yeah,
got scared. And I'm like, okay, so what can I do to not get the glaucoma?
right.
And they tell you, well, nothing. We'll just watch it. We'll just watch it. Well, who wants to watch it when they know that glaucoma is a serious illness that affects the optic nerve and that can lead all the way to blindness? Right? When you hear the diagnosis that there's a potential for it, you want to do something with it immediately. So I
Absolutely.
think that's the situation that we're in, right? Where many people are in, and they feel like all of this, the state of the eyes is a constant and there is nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, obviously, I talk about exercise and eating right and all that things to improve our physical health, but no one's talking about that there's things you can do for your eye health. That's just it's mind blowing to me. So, how would you even start learning the skills that are needed to make a difference in improving your eyesight?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, right, you would need to allow the fact in your mind that eyesight is actually not a constant. And chances are that you're not going to learn that from your eye doctor. It is not that they are not willing to tell you, but sometimes they don't know. They
Mm.
have not experienced it themselves, and that is not part of the traditional education that they get in optometry. Now, that trend is starting to shift a little bit. There are some holistic optometrists out there, there are some vision therapists out there that are starting to work with some of the elements of vision improvement, but usually it is natural vision coaches that go in depth and really get results for their people quickly, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
first of all, you now, right, they would not necessarily tell you this, but eyesight is actually a skill. All right.
And that's
So
exactly
what
I
you
mean,
then,
that's what I wanted you to really get into my viewers' minds is that that's actually a possibility out there, that it's a skill. They don't just have to accept what the eye doctor knows. And just like in our other health, we're having to fight for our menopause care because doctors weren't trained in that part. The same goes with these eye doctors. They're not bad people. They just know what they've been taught. So this is just a new element that we can add as long as you even know about it.
exactly. So now, why would I say that eyesight is a skill? Right? It's really, eyesight is more a conglomeration of multiple visual skills that you execute in the right order with the right proficiency. But to make it simple, let's just talk about a skill. Why would you believe me? Well, just ask yourself, is your eyesight the same throughout the day? Is it the same when you wake up than when you go to bed? Is it the same on the weekdays than on the weekends when you have more free time and when you go more outside? Is it the same when it's beautiful and sunny and warm outside versus when it's dark and rainy? Right?
Hmm.
The answer is probably
No.
no, right? And
Right.
so let's begin just by understanding that eyesight is variable and it doesn't always change to the worse. It sometimes changes to the better, right? So let's start with that. Eyesight is variable. Let's just accept that as the first thing. And if eyesight is variable and eyesight is a skill, then eyesight can be learned. Now, let me
Mm.
demonstrate one more thing for you. Look at something that is difficult to see with your naked eyes without glasses, right? It's a little bit blurry. And then
Mhm.
make a tiny little hole in your hand, just like that. and look at that thing or the font or whatever letters, on the screen through this
Mhm.
little hole. Now tell me, were you able to see it better? Maybe it wasn't totally clear, but was it better?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Right? And so you can see that even with your eyes just as they are, you haven't learned any skills yet, but the eyes can already do things for you if you create the right environment and you know how to do it, right? And that's kind of what you learn. So that's the very first thing. And the last thing I will tell you is eyesight is not necessarily what the eyes do, it's what the brain does. 90% of seeing is done in
Mm.
the brain, right? And I'm pretty sure that the listeners who are following you, Jenny, they have heard of neuroplasticity before, right? And so they understand that you can change neural pathways, you can change the interpretation of several of the different signals that are being supplied by the eyes through the
Mm.
optic nerve to the brain.
Yeah.
You can change that interpretation, right? And
Mm.
that is also what makes it possible to learn new visual skills and what makes it possible to see again, see better, improve the eyesight, no matter how long you have had your glasses and no matter what condition you have.
That's just amazing. Yeah, I know, like, creating habits, you can rewire your brain to get things after you've repeated them enough to get them as a just kind of going on autopilot. So I know things can change, but I just never connected the dots that the eyesight would be the same.
Right. And you just mentioned habits, and habits are actually your step two.
Okay.
So when you first accept, when you allow the idea that eyesight can be changed, it can be improved,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then you're opening the doors to making it better. And you start to make it better by introducing the right environment and by starting to use the eyes correctly. Now, people always stare at me and they're like, what? How would I not use the eyes correctly? Right? But
Right.
there is the right way to do everything and the wrong way to do everything. And when you do it the wrong way, whatever it is doing is probably not going to last and it's not going to perform the same way. Right? So if you get
Mm-hmm.
your new iPhone or any phone, you get a user's manual with it and they will tell you how to treat it, they will tell you how it works, how to take care of it, how to make sure it lasts a long time, right? And then you
Yeah.
follow these instructions, and if you don't and you start throwing your iPhone on the floor, your screen breaks. If you throw it in water, it's probably going to stop working
Right.
altogether, right? Now the problem here is that we were hardly given a user's manual for the eyes, right?
Right.
We actually do get, in quotes, user's manuals for some parts of our bodies. We are taught that we should be exercising, we should be running, lifting, doing any sort of physical activity to keep our bodies healthy, right? We are
Right.
taught at the dentist that we're supposed to brush our teeth and they show us how to do it at very early age. But with
Yeah.
the eyes, we're not taught anything. At
No.
best, every once in a while, somebody tells you to look at a chart on a wall and they measure how well you can see at the distance. But they don't tell you how the eyes work. They don't tell you what the environment should be so
Mm-hmm.
that they can work properly. And they certainly don't tell you how to use the eyes. So
Yeah.
that's step number two, to learn the right, you can call it the habits, you can call it the manual for your eyes, right? Some of my students actually call it the working manual for the eyes. So whatever you want to call it, you want to learn how to use your eyes properly so that whatever you do in step three, you are kind of supporting your vision in those steps. And you
Mm-hmm.
can learn the habits, you can look them up on the internet if you want. We have created a guide of 9 vision habits that you can have a look at. You can download it for free and you can basically check the situation for yourself. There's a pretty good chance that there are some habits, some ways you use the eyes that are perfectly in line with what the right way is. And then you may find that there are 2, 3, 4 that you are not really doing and that you may choose to incorporate into the way you treat the eyes and learn to use them properly so that whatever state they are at right now doesn't worsen, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think that's so interesting because I've worn glasses since middle school. And so I'm sure there's a lot of things that I haven't been doing right and that they've just slowly gotten worse. I will say I did get a little bit of improvement when I lowered inflammation through my diet, but I still needed glasses. So I've seen a
Absolutely.
little bit of improvement when I did that, but I know my habits need to get better on practicing vision.
Yeah, and nutrition is definitely part of it. And in that particular guide, we don't even go into that part
Yeah.
of the environment of the habits. So perhaps that is something that you can help with
Yeah.
moving forward. But what we do go into is eye relaxation, the need of changing distances, proper lighting, welcoming light into your eyes. Some things that might even be a little bit controversial and
Mm.
against what the usual recommendation is. So yeah, just check it out. It is free for you to go through. And for the people who decide to get the guide, we even support them through weekly emails just to kind of remind them of putting each of these different habits into their daily routine. So yeah, just
That's
little
so
things
important
to
since it's
help out.
probably pretty new to most of us.
Yeah, it usually is. And they are simple. I'm not saying that all of them are easy, but they are absolutely very simple to just look at and say, hey, am I doing this or am I not doing this?
Well, as you mentioned, this isn't easy. So we might as well try something different.
I bet. All right, very good. So we've gone through two, right?
Yeah.
Number one, acceptance of the fact that eyesight can change.
Hmm.
And I have shown you just this little trick of why. Number two, adjusting the habits, right?
Hmm.
Getting used to using the eyes the way that they are actually supposed to be used so that they can function in the right way. And
Right.
please understand, this is not heavy exercise by any means. All right. And
Uh-huh.
then number three is to learn the new visual skills that you have either lost or that you have never had.
Hmm.
Right. And
Hmm.
just like any skills, it does take some process. It does take a little bit of time, and you follow the steps to learning all sorts of different skills that in totality give you clear vision, which is what
Oh,
everybody wants, right?
yes.
Now, vision is not all about clarity always. It is about seeing colors, it is about staying safe, right? Being able to drive, being able to see cars passing by, being able to
Yes.
walk down the stairs and not being scared that you
Yes.
fall. But most people really want clarity of vision.
Yes. Can you tell me some of your successes with maybe some of your clients that you've gotten?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, I just mentioned driving. So I had a student, she was 70 or is 76 years old, and she has been wearing glasses forever. And after about a year of practice, she's now driving. She's driving without glasses. She's reading
Wow.
without glasses, like a super happy new person that has no boundaries whatsoever, right? She can do whatever she wants whenever she wants it.
So it sounds like
And
it's never too late to start either if
oh
she's
no,
76.
absolutely not. Or I can talk about William. William is a gentleman who has had all sorts of visual issues, but one of the biggest ones was that his left eye really wasn't engaged in the seeing, right? That is what
Hmm.
sometimes happens with children when they have what is called amblyopia, and they basically give them the pirate patch to work with. Well,
My
I
daughter
didn't
had
give him
that.
a
My
pirate
daughter will have
patch.
that.
Your
Yes.
daughter had that,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
I didn't give him a pirate patch, but what I did was we worked through the steps of vision improvement. And in about 12 to 16 weeks, that eye not only got engaged in seeing, but the vision from went from worse than 20/200, 20/20 being the ideal distant vision,
Mhm.
right? Or 20/15 is even better. But he went from 20/200 to about 20/80, right? Now
Wow.
imagine that not only the eye was seeing, but he
Wow.
was able to start reading things that were not too small and that were not too far from him, but
Yes.
certainly much more than he was able to do before, right?
Oh,
He had
wow.
other things. He had like visual auras, visual um, other difficulties that
Yeah.
we managed to get rid of through some of the specific techniques, but this was probably the most significant for him to be able to use both eyes and see.
Wow, that's amazing. Anybody that's watching either here on or live or on the replay, I'm really curious. Have you ever heard of the vision improvement like Irena's discussing? I know I hadn't, and I was shocked when she first told me. So, Irena, with these habits and being able to practice these skills, can this be used for any other purposes? Like I know I've done meditation, and we actually met with a mindset coach who was a neuroscientist, and she taught us about visualization and like being able to visualize what we're going for and working for. That helped create those habits a little faster. Is there any tie in there?
Yeah, so Jenny, I'm glad that you're mentioning that. So, I mentioned in step 3, you're learning visual skills, and many of them are things like proper eye movement, seeing relative movement, eye relaxation, targeting, right? So that the eyes are looking at the right spot, fusion, so that the images that are coming from the eyes, each eye supplying a little bit different image,
Uh-huh.
they get fused and combined together. Eye coordination, so that the eyes actually work with each other, right? We have two, but they have to work together to provide you with clear seeing. And so those are some of the skills that you're learning in the process of vision improvement. Now,
Hmm.
there is this master skill that kind of ties into what you said, and that master skill is visual memory and imagination, right?
Okay.
And that is the skill that ties everything together. It is based on the proven assumption, I should say. So, I guess on truth, that if you close your eyes and you can imagine a black dot, right? Like a period at the end of a sentence,
Mm-hmm.
as if it was drawn or written on a white piece of paper, if you can do that, then your eyes are so relaxed that they can see better immediately, right?
Mm.
And so this element of visual memory and imagination goes across all the different techniques in vision improvement. And that is something that we like to teach at the very start, right? It's not 100% necessary, but it makes everything so much easier to
Oh.
learn if you can if you can leverage your visual memory and imagination. And we use it in my classes for the teaching of vision, but it can equally be used in meditations, in visualizations, in planning, right? Your future, you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
imagine things that you want in your life. And we know that from that class, from neuroplasticity and from just neuropsychology, that the brain doesn't differentiate between the real images that it sees or that are provided to it, and the images that are imagined,
Yeah.
that we have created in our brain, in our mind, right? And
Yeah.
so having this visual memory, being able to imagine not only the little black dot, but anything that we want to create in our lives, that can be also learned. And many
Mm.
people don't know how to do it anymore. We were able to do it when we were little kids, but it becomes a little bit more difficult when we are adult, and some of these basic skills that we used to have, they are a little bit suppressed, right?
Yeah.
And so I pay special attention to that at the start of anyone's vision journey, and I teach them visual memory, visual imagination. And I actually have a class that teaches this. It's a live workshop, very interactive, where I teach live different ways of igniting visual memory and imagination so that people can use it in their natural vision improvement, but also in any other aspect of their life.
Like the saying goes, if you can see it, you can achieve it. And I know as we've gotten older, we don't practice that imagination as much as we did as kids. So I can see how this could help with vision, but also in other areas of our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something that everybody can test on themselves, right?
Yeah.
Just sit right now as you're listening to this little talk of ours, and just close your eyes. And does anything show? Is there something, can you see the room? Can you see where you are? And can you imagine that you're somewhere else? And if you can do that, then wonderful. But if you can't, you can so much enhance your life and your seeing also by being able to supply those visual images to yourself so that you can imagine literally, right? You can
Yeah.
really imagine visually, vividly what it is that you're after, whether it is better vision or whether it is anything else in your health or in your life.
Yeah. Well, like, and just like with anything, it takes practice. And a lot of us are out of practice. So that's so cool that you have that. So, anything else you want to tell our viewers before we wrap this up?
Yeah, so the only little thing, we went really fast, right? This
Yes.
is a short little event,
Yes.
and so there is much more about vision. There is a lot more to know about vision. It's nothing complicated, but it's good to have the right information so that you can act upon it. But I would just encourage everyone at the end to just sit with yourself and close your eyes and think about the eyes and just absorb the idea that they don't have to see the way they do today, that you have the power of making the change. And if you do decide that you want to do something about it, download the habits for vision, start there. And if you
Mm-hmm.
want to go a little bit faster, then go to my website, click on some of the links that Jenny is mentioning below, go to overboundoutside.com and have a look at the options we have, and see if there are ways that would fit your schedule, your learning preferences, and teach yourself how to see again. It's easy, right? Simple steps. It's simple, and it can be done in a pretty easy manner.
Yes. And that was our goal today, just for you to know that it's even a possibility. So thank you, Irena, for joining us. And here is your reminder, just like all other aspects of our health, don't accept that everything has to decline as you age. And now we know that our vision is part of that. So thanks for joining us. And be sure, if you have questions for Irena, to drop them in the comments, and we'll be checking back later to answer them.
Thank you very much, Jenny, for having me.